Reactor online, sensors online, weapons systems online, all systems nominal.
Hello, and welcome once again to another episode of the Amazing Life Show. My name is Mizami, and if this is your first time tuning in, welcome. Alright, so for some of you guys who have just started tuning in, or maybe just stumbled upon this channel, welcome, of course, to this photography show where we focus more on anything to do with photography. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So this is actually a focal point for the show. We actually bring in guest speakers from all over the world to talk about their own works, and this is basically a photography talk show for photographers by photographers. And for those of you guys who have just tuned in, if you guys are curious to know when I actually go for the live stream or when I actually go live on the live stream, this is my schedule. I'm just gonna get my bot to say it out for me.
Satellite link established.
There we go. Basically on every Tuesday and every Saturday we'll be live streaming, but of course, you know, in about perhaps about 2 weeks time, I'll make some changes to the schedule. Instead of streaming on Tuesdays and Saturdays, it's going to be on Tuesdays and Fridays. And of course, in between, due to popular demand, some of the folks out there have been asking me, hey, can you do some live editing instead of just bringing guest speakers? Yep. So this is something that we are planning to do as well. We're going to do live editing. I'm going to bring back photo critique. Right now, I am in the process of creating a community channel on Discord where photographers all over can join me on Discord channels. All right, and of course, discuss further about photography, share their works, get your photo critic on, and we're gonna do this all live as well. So this is something I'm still working on. It's not happening anytime soon, but give me a couple more weeks and I'll try to, you know, sort things out, and hopefully everything will be okay and good to go. So shout out to those of you guys who are watching right now. I can see there's some folks tuning in right now. Brian, your brain, Yon, and Katodes, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Do let your friends know that we're now live. I know last Saturday I wasn't on because I had some other matters to attend to, and there were some changes to the way things were run, so everything is postponed to this week. Yeah, hey, thank you so much for joining us. So anyway, some of the things I plan to do is, because right now I want to engage subscribers to the channel. So what I plan to have is a tier reward system for those people who actually follow and subscribe to the channel, and that actually includes things like I don't know, prints of my work being shipped out to them with a personal message or something like that. A lot of plans really that are right now on the drawing board which you obviously can't see right now, but they are there. As and when they are ready, I'll put them all up on Discord. But anyway, I just want to give you guys a little bit of surprise preview since you guys are really awesome. Let me show you what I have in store. So this is the A-MEZ-ING Academy Discord. So you can see there's a lot of things that are being prepared, but it's not open yet. What I intend to have is basically a community bonding area online on 24/7 and have areas for you guys to actually learn more on your own. So I'm gonna find articles. I'm gonna find very interesting articles on either Azo or Wacom or even Capture One, and then post them all up here. Some very interesting sales deals. All right, I know for Singaporeans especially, you guys love shopping. So anytime I find some discount deals on any of the products that I am using, I'll be happy to share them inside the Discord channel as well. And I'm really sorry if I sound a little bit funny today, because I'm still recovering from a bad bout of flu. This has been a hell week, and I've been running around. It's been very, very difficult, but I'll believe I'll be fine. Just, you know, trying to make things work around here. So anyway, as always, I just want to do a shout out for my social media as well. This
Satellite link
is
established.
Friday. Thank you so much, Friday. Friday is my wonderful bot. So she's sharing all my social media links, and if you guys are interested, you can always check out my Facebook. You can check out my website here, which you are looking at on the screen. And of course, you know, I have still have not been updating my blog. I'll get around to that soon enough. And of course, some of the things that I'm working on, I will be revealing them in the blog as well. For those people who are actually on my Facebook, you guys had a something like a glimpse of what I'm planning these days. But anyway, more on that when the time is ready. This is of course my Facebook page. You can check it out as well. Most of my latest works will be shared here. Latest episodes of the Amazing Live Show in terms of previews and all that will be pasted here as well. And I'll be making random announcements whenever I go live, because some people ask me to, hey, can you do like live edits and things like that. So I was thinking of increasing the frequency of the time I actually come online to do live streams. And this will be like not on Tuesdays, on Fridays or Saturdays. It'll be like in between, you know, as and when I'm available, I'll just do it, and I'll make sure that you guys are aware when I come on. This is my Twitter account, and I don't know why it says something is wrong. That's strange. Okay, so this is my Twitter account. I think Twitter is being funny right now, but it's okay, never mind. This is my YouTube channel, of course. If you guys missed the previous VODs of my previous episodes of the Amazing Live Show, you can watch them over here. There's actually a playlist, and I've been doing something very interesting with Composite Nation's BreakGen. So if you guys are very interested to see, I actually have things like this up online right now. Let's take a look. That's right. So BreakGen is something really cool that just got released by Composite Nation, and it allows you to create very, very cool layer by layer breakdowns of your PSD files, and you can actually create your own like a GIF or animated video to showcase how you get from zero to the final end product. Hey Michelle, nice to see you as well. Wow, finally you're here. Yay! So grateful to have you join us. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Yep, so this is my Instagram. I've not okay, I gotta be very, very candid about this. To be honest, I've not been updating my Instagram, but hey, you know, I'm getting back onto the saddle, and I'm trying to push up more content on my Instagram. So if you guys can, just hit me with a follow. And my gosh, this was when my hair was still, you know, silver and ash and all that. Right now, I don't know why the color of yellow is starting to take over my hair. I think I need to go back for a re-dye, but it's okay. Anyway, this is my Twitch channel, of course, and if you guys want to follow, you can hit the follow button. If you want to subscribe, that'll be great as well. As and when anytime you guys want to find out a little bit more about what I'm running under the hood in terms of my computer specs and things like that, because I do get people asking me what's inside my machine. you can read it all over here yourself. My laptop is currently at the doctor's. So sad. You need to tone your hair. You need to tone your hair again. Yes, I have to. I think so. But anyway, for those of you guys who have been showing support for the channel, I just want to share something with you guys. This is how you can show your support for the channel this time around, instead of going through buying bits and stuff like that, which don't really reward you that much. You can actually use your camera phone to scan the QR code over there, which will bring you to the Razer tip stream page, and this is where it gets very interesting. So anytime you buy Razer shards using Razer Gold, you are able to support me and, you know, basically help me with the channel. One shard is actually 1 cent in USD, and the best part is, as and when you donate to the Razer tip stream, you'll accumulate Razer silver points, which you can use to redeem all this epic loot. So Razer store does have Razer silver as a currency for choice. You can actually get all these games, and you can even get any of this epic Razer loot. Okay, like for example keyboards, headsets and mice, they are all part of the catalog, and even things like accessories like t-shirts and you know, the hydrator. In this case, I got one. You can see right now. See, I managed to get this. Yeah, but this one I bought on my own. I didn't use Razer silver. Yep, that's pretty much it when it comes to Razer tip stream. I really truly appreciate every single cent that comes in, or every single shot that comes in. Thank you so much. And as you guys know, on every Saturday, whenever I go on live stream, I also do some kind of shout outs for fellow creators or creatives. So in this episode, I actually want to highlight Anwar Rafi'i. Okay, so Anwar Rafi'i is actually an artist. This is his Instagram. Okay, I'm gonna put the link here in the chat, right, so you can see it. And of course, you know, you can see that he does quite a diverse mix of style. You have traditional art, you have digital art, and he does have a website as well, which I'm gonna link over in the chat as well. He does designs for t-shirts, which reminds me, I'm supposed to, you know, look through them and maybe buy some. And he does a lot of commissions as well, so if you guys are, you know, keen on getting some artwork commissioned by him, even decals for cars, I think. Yeah, there you go. There's something that he did for the recent NDP, I believe. If I'm not wrong, he also has designs for masks as well, so you can check it out on his website. Okay. Yep, his works are fantastic. Let's see, what do you say? Is what happens when you go that color, your hairdresser will tell you. Easy fix. Oh, really? So I gotta tone my hair and get back that white, silver, ash color? I'll definitely do that. Yeah, because blonde is something I'm trying to avoid. I've already done it before. I don't know why the color ran off. I guess I need to do some touch up. If only this is like Photoshop, where I can just do retouching on my hair easily and simply. But anyway, Today we're gonna have someone all the way from Australia. We're gonna have Russell Ord from Russell Ord Photography joining us, and you know, we're gonna discover a little bit more about his life. We're gonna take a deep dive into his works as well, no pun intended. So for those of you guys who actually have been following his works, you guys will probably know that he is an amazing photographer who does a lot of epic photography works, and I'm just gonna show you his published works in a bit. He also has Instagram, so I'm just gonna link you guys his Instagram account so you can follow as well. Just give me a sec. Alright, so putting on to the chat, let me just drag and drop this over so you guys can follow his works. And this is it. This is that's right, Michelle, Australia represent. So this is Russell's Instagram account. He does a very nice mix of photography works, and you know what? Some of his works are done with the GFX 100. So a lot of people have been telling me that, hey, medium format is heavy, medium format is not mobile. Well, this guy managed to prove you guys wrong. And of course, you know, he does have a lot of published works. He's an award-winning photographer as well. He does run workshops, he does run exhibitions, I believe. He also got a lot of personal works, and all this, of course, we'll definitely dig up more from him later on during the show. So anyway, on his path to becoming an internationally acclaimed photographer, Russell Ord has squinted down the lens at an intriguing mix of subjects over the years. He shot magazine covers of world-class surfers and helped deify celebrity chefs. He's roamed with Uunguu Rangers in the Australian outback, island hopped across tropical fantasylands, and followed his photographic instincts through urban meccas. Meanwhile, his ocean images are celebrated for simultaneously implying the cruelty and majesty of the sea. Now, I always like to tell people this: nature can be very violent, but it can be so beautiful at the same time, and he has captured a lot of that in his works. As one of the world's leading surf photographers, Russell's unique talents culminated in his documentation of a violent twist of Indian Ocean known simply as the right. In pursuit of a unique, career-defining angle, Russ put himself in a situation where the ocean's most powerful forces converge. The hard-won image served as the focal point for a celebrated documentary One Shot, and we're going to talk about that as well soon enough. Damn, this camera quality is crazy. What a view. Which one? Ginger Problems. I believe it's, I think he's shot with the Fujifilm GFX100, if I'm not wrong. So anyway, we're going to take a look at his works in a short trailer that I've gotten from YouTube. Thanks, YouTube. So stand by, and we'll bring him onto the show in a fair bit. Right.
You've reached Russell Photography. I'm busy at the moment, probably surfing to be honest. Leave a message and I'll get back to you. Cheers.
You swim under, you can't hear a thing. It's a real energy, you know it's alive, everything's alive. Things that are swimming in it, the wind, the waves themselves are strong, and you feel it. You feel it in the water. It's awesome. All the things that happen on land, you're getting emails, you're getting phone calls, you're getting business. Once you're in the water, all that goes. So it's more like, it's like a place of peace.
Mate, definitely worth a look. Hopefully that wind dies off and that swell pumps up a little bit this afternoon. We'll get organised and meet you there.
You've got to be hard on yourself. You've got to look at your work and think, well, how I could do that better. Otherwise, you're just going through the motions. You're never learning or you're never progressing. I just want to capture one shot. That means a lot to me. The more I've got those shots, the happier I am. If I can just get a shot really easy, it doesn't really mean anything to me because I look at that shot and I don't get a story about it. It's more the journey to get the shot. If I can look at one of my shots and I know I've spent, 2 hours on a jet ski, or I've been hammered by waves, or I've never been to that position. If I can't see effort, I don't really see a good shot. They sort of go hand in hand. The more time in the water, the better. The less time on the computer. That's a big win. It's like all Fujifilm cameras, straight out of camera, it's just beautiful. I'm not shooting on this camera to put it on Instagram and social media. It's to have massive prints where you can sit there and enjoy it and, really see minute specks of water droplets. It's crazy. It took me quite quite a long time to figure out it was really just the ocean, and the camera was that vehicle to be in it and get paid as a job. Like, it's a pretty an amazing office. You know, I might not be rich, but I've got a pretty rich lifestyle when I can do something like that.
Wow, that's just amazing. I mean, a lot of people are saying the details taken with the GFX 100 is just mind-blowing. It's just crazy. Russell, welcome to the Amazing Live Show. Thank you for joining us this evening. It's a pleasure to have you here joining us on the live stream.
Thanks for having me.
Yep. So, Russell, I was looking at the trailer, and the first time I saw it, and every single time I watch it, even just now, I'm very intrigued. You were on a jet ski with okay, in Singapore, about $14,000 camera and lens, plus maybe about 20,000 thereabouts, and you're just sitting on a jet ski with massive waves all around you, and you're just there in the moment taking photos. That's just what I would call courage.
It could be called stupidity as well. The stupid part was I should have got Fuji to supply the lenses, because I already had those lenses.
Okay.
And, you know, they obviously to supply the GFX. But, yeah, the lenses copped a little bit of water for sure.
Oh, dear. And I hope the camera gear and the lenses all survived that shoot.
The lenses are still going well. I've still got them. And then because it was a pre-production model, I had to send that camera body back. They probably binned it.
Okay. Because whenever I go to the seaside with my own camera, and I'm always trying to avoid getting sea splashes or even sea spray, and I'm very concerned about things like corrosion and things like that. But there you are in the middle of the ocean, on a jet ski, no less, and with a camera. it's just insane. But you know, the shots were really fantastic. Michelle is saying that it's a beautiful. Mind blown. She's mind blown by the details. Ginger Problem says crazy, beautiful photos, amazing stuff. Little Brit is like wow, and Michelle just went what a legend. So there you go. You are a legend right now.
I appreciate the kind words.
Okay, Russell. Just a quick question. How would you describe yourself?
Oh, it's a tough one. Probably just like a larrikin Aussie. Have you ever heard the term Ocker Aussie? It's kind Ocker Aussie.
No.
It's kind of someone that likes, you know, football, loves barbecues and beers and being around his mates and stuff like that, and talks with a bit of slang. I'll try not to talk too much slang because people won't understand me. So
could you try? I'm very curious to hear what the slang sounds like.
Oh, it's more like terms. It'll come out through the interview for sure, and I'll try to correct myself because people won't have a clue.
Okay.
I actually had an American mate that. This is years ago, and he was coming over to Australia. His partner lived over here, and he wanted to work with me. Mm-hmm. And so I'd speak to him over the internet for 6 months, and he got over here, and he said to me, after about 3 months of a couple of jobs together, he goes, "I haven't got a clue what you're talking about."
Well, don't worry. So far, so good.
I'll try to speak as well as I can. But yeah, just Aussie larrikin, husband, father, and photographer.
Awesome. And that's how we all connect here on the Amazing Live Show, being photographers. And you know, I'm just curious because I did a little bit of read up about your bio, like the fantastic stalker that I am, and I discovered quite a few things about you. And over the years, you've gone through so many different adventures, but I just want you to share with the audience right now more about your history. So before your days with a camera, what were you doing in life?
Well, I'll skip the first part of school. I only really went to the halfway through year 9, and then left school and got a trade as a screen printer. And it was more the fact that the guy that owned the company was the president of the rugby league club, because my whole life just revolved around playing rugby league, and that's all I ever wanted to do. So that was my focus as a kid, and I still love it today. And I'm probably in the wrong state for that code. It's more like an East Coast sort of, and in New Zealand. But yeah, so I did that, and then I got in the fire brigade when I was 20, so quite young. Like I went through the school when I was 20 and turned 21 on shift, and then picked up a camera about 3 or 4 years into that. So not until I was about 24 or 25 roughly that I picked up a camera. So I had that really good base of being able to go to work and not really worry about money, but also learn the ropes of photography at the same time.
So you were learning as a photographer. You were learning to pick up photography as a firefighter during that time.
Yeah, well, what happened was I got injured surfing and did my knee. So I was out for like 3 months, and I just loved surfing. So one of my mates, his dad had a film camera, and he said, "Look, come down." This is before social media or anything, but he was a really good surfer. Come down and get a few photos, and we might get him in the magazine. And I didn't have a clue. So, we're loading this camera with slide film, and we got the slides back, and it looked like a checkerboard, overexposed, underexposed. It was terrible. I was like, oh, this is quite tough. So I kind of persisted for that, just to really get out of the house, and spent a lot of time on the beach shooting with my mate's old man's camera. And that's really how it started.
Did he leave the camera with you on a permanent basis, or is it just a loan and then borrow as you go?
Just a loan, and then I kind of somehow I managed to borrow a water housing, and then I took that out, and I didn't get any shots with it, but just the feeling that I had with it is kind of, oh, this is actually quite good. The previous 3 months I didn't really care for. All I want to do was get back in the surf and get over my injuries. But once I started shooting in the water, it just had this really incredible feeling, because normally surfing's quite competitive. You're competing for waves and stuff like that. But with the camera, it just allowed me to be away from everyone, and you still experience the ocean of how it was. You're still getting hold downs, you're still going over the falls, and you're experiencing all those elements. But it's kind of like you're in your own world. And I was like, this photography, I'm going to try to keep going with this.
Yep. And considering that you got injured in the waters, did that kind of made you have a phobia or something? But it seems like you easily overcome that kind of issue. No, I've been in the ocean since I was like 5. I love it. I mean, right at this very moment, I'm recovering from a dislocated shoulder that I did last week. Oh man! And it was kind of a nasty one. Oh dear. So it was dislocated for 8. And I've kind of just thinking now that I need to change up the way I do things, especially how I surf. I think my ability is not, how would you put it? I'm braver than my ability. That's what it is. I'm taking crazy waves and thinking I'm going to make it, and all of a sudden I'm getting injured. So I'm going to have a rethink of that, because I just can't afford to get injured, surfing. I still need to work. Yep. And this will put me on the back foot for a little while, but there's always a silver lining somewhere. And whenever you go out into the sea with your gear and all that, what are some of the precautions that you actually take into consideration before you actually go out right into the middle of the ocean, or before you actually step into the water? Well, that's happened over time. Like, you're just getting used to the ocean and you're building up. It's not like you're jumping from, being in like a lake to like 20-foot waves. It's kind of something that's evolved over time. So I can look at the ocean and know exactly how I'm feeling. But if precaution-wise, I'll be looking at the surfers, how hard they're paddling, how big the rips are. The surf, the size, I can look at that and feel quite comfortable no matter what the size is, really. It's more the fact of sort of looking how I'm feeling on the day,
and the energy levels and how hard it is to get back in, because you always want to be able to save yourself in the end. You don't want to be getting rescued or anything like that. So right. It's that sort of thing. The photography itself is kind of easier to learn than the ocean. The ocean takes years. That's the hard part.
And it somehow managed to combine both. So that's next level photography for you. Because I have never been to a country where there's a lot of massive waves, and looking at trailers down there and comparing to the waves that I see in Singapore, it's totally different. Singapore waves are like maybe, I don't know, 30 centimeters. You guys are like massive. So, you know, it just shows the kind of I don't know, if I were to put myself in that position on the surfboard with camera gear and all that and just looking at the waves, I don't think I'll be mentally prepared ever to put myself in that kind of situation. To take out a camera and take shots like you do, because the first thing I'll be worried about is my own safety. I'll be like, wow, the waves so massive. I'll be stunned, you know. But you're right. Maybe after several years, perhaps, if I go and practice myself, and if I go and put myself into that situation more and more, maybe I can be something like what you're doing. I can do something like what you're doing. Yeah. But curious, when you first started out your shots, when you first started photography, do you still happen to have all your old shots, your first few shots, still with you?
I've got a lot of slides, and which I didn't sort of scan, so I've got boxes of those. But I've got a few shots. Do you want me to?
Sure.
I've got a couple that. Then there's nothing special. It's just the only photos I could find, that some scans that I found. So I'll share this screen.
Let's take a look.
Is that working?
Yep.
I'm sort of okay. No drama. So these are all like scanned film shots, and there's something a little bit different. Mm-hmm. We call that thing our cheap chopper. So the surf's actually really tiny, and you could take this. A friend got the idea of taking a tennis chair, like the umpires sit on, mm-hmm. and putting it in the water and filming off it. Wow. So, but these are just like old scans and stuff like that. So, and then the next shot, this is something I wish I pursued in the end. Mm-hmm. I'm getting towed in on my surfboard and trying to shoot myself. And I've seen a lot of guys do this recently, and there's some amazing work, but I could never really get rid of the water off my port. I just had no idea. And you've only got 36 shots and you're wasting so much film. It's not like I was a sponsored photographer or I was getting film for free. Every shot, cost me money, and
yep.
It's kind of something I wish I kept going with. And this was just a mate's board collection, and I actually just posted this on social before because I haven't seen any of these shots for so long. Mm-hmm. Nothing special, but just a couple of old scans.
So it's like a documentary style back then. You just went out there and just shoot. But do you have a intention or any form of an idea of what you want to capture before you go in, or you just go let's just wing it and just take shots?
Yeah, I was winging everything. I just wanted to shoot everything that moved in the surf and anything to do with surf. The one thing I didn't do enough of back then, it was shoot more lifestyle. I was always concentrating on shooting in the water. So you've only got so much film. I get 2 rolls of film. I need to make that last. Yep. I'm not going to go and shoot everything on land as well, but I kind of wish I did that now, because a surf shot is just a surf shot, but the lifestyle that I see amazing photos, especially mountain climbing guys. They've got so much amazing lifestyle that surrounds it, and I kind of wish I did that back in 20 years ago, because that changes how people wearing different clothes and stuff like that. So it's good.
Feels like a different era altogether.
Yeah, and then this one was like the first time I ever shot flash in the water with a flash on top.
Oh.
So I was trying everything. I wasn't really mastering anything, but so you're swimming out there in the dark. You can see just above his head the lights in the far car park. So it's super early, and it's kind of scary swimming out in the dark.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, especially where we live. Like we've had a couple of shark attacks lately, and
Oh no, really?
yeah, proper
Shark
sharks.
attacks.
And then this one,
Oh wow.
this is just a scan off a slide, and I wish I had this slide. This is the first image I ever got in a magazine. This took me 4 years. This is about 4 years into shooting, 4 or 5 years. So it's my first shot, and this is all I have left of it. I got this in a Tracks magazine in Australia, and then they sent me back the slide. I can vividly remember that, and then I sent the slide to the US. That's how it worked back then. You know, you had to have the slides. It was super cool, but never got the slide back. And it would still today be up there as, you know, it's a pretty heavy spot, and that guy's 6'5", so it's quite solid, but. It's a shame not to have it. So they're the early works.
and how was it like? You know, I mean, shooting with an SLR camera is one thing, not being able to preview the shots, but actually going out there in the early morning, you know, getting the shots into the of the waves and all that, and not being able to preview. Were there always like any form of self-doubt with the shots that you were taking?
Oh yeah, at the start I didn't have a clue what was going on. It's like you just shoot and nearly hope for the best. Like you wait 2 weeks and get the shots back, and then you're like, oh, okay, I did this wrong or I did this right, and stuff like that. So it was, and no one would give you a hand. No one would help you. Like the old surf photographers, you couldn't even talk to those guys. They're on their own little patch of surf, and it was quite this. Who's this young guy that's starting out, and everything was kept to yourself. All the secrets were secrets, proper secrets. It's amazing. I mean, I got my first film camera here.
Oh yeah, let's take a look.
Yeah, so it's the Nikon F100, and I've still got it. And now my son uses it, so it's pretty cool. He's into his filming more so, but he's been taking a few shots with it, and it's still working strong. But 36 shots, and that's all you get. And then this is the first. Have a look at this thing. Can you see that?
Oh yeah, that's housing.
That was a housing for that camera with like a 300mm 2.8 lens.
Wow.
I had this amazing idea of putting, because I really wanted to get into shooting bigger waves, and but I didn't want to get like right in the wave. So because you're probably gonna die. That's what it felt like back then. So I used that housing twice, and then the second time I was on a board. I had that camera in a backpack, and then I got caught by all these waves. I nearly drowned, nearly died, but it kind of set me off on a different path. But and I'd never used the housing again. I've just got another housing off Dave for the GFX, which I'll show you later on. But Dave must have been just like, what is this guy doing? Like, who wants to put a 300mm 2.8 lens and a camera with a battery pack in a housing, and then stick it in a backpack with no holes? I wasn't thinking I was just like, I'm going for it. And so
you know what? If I were to look at your previous image, the one with the flash, and I look at your housing, and I were to try to match that. Basically, your flash unit wasn't covered by the housing, was it?
Yeah, the flash that shot that I showed you before, I had a flash unit on top of that. Yeah, it was probably 2 or 3 years into my shooting where I decided, I'm going to start shooting flash, and I got a housing that had an on-camera flash. Yeah, it was a huge unit. It's a big unit to work with.
And you know what? Every time I look at Facebook, people always complain about the size of cameras. Wait till you see the housing that you have to bring into the waters. It's totally massive. But just now you did mention how when you first started out photography with the waves, there were people who refused to share their knowledge with you because they probably look at you as, oh, you're just a young bloke and we're not gonna share our secrets with you and things like that. I think this is like a very common thing around the world, and some photographers for some strange reason are kind of elitist, I guess. Maybe that's the right word to describe them. and they're not willing to share anything with you. But somehow you took a different path, because I did some research as well about what you do. You do run workshops, you do give talks as well, and we'll explore more of those later. So it's nice to see that there is this shift in the way professional photographers conduct themselves. They no longer keep knowledge to themselves. People like yourself, you are happy to share things with the rest of the world. So thank you so much for that.
No worries.
Yep.
I think, it would have taken me, I remember trying to shoot under the waves, and it's a different focal length, and I reckon I went through 20 rolls of film and still couldn't get it.
Oh man. And
now you could just Google that at 2 seconds.
Exactly. And film is just unforgiving, when you make a mistake, that's it. The mistake stays. You can't delete and redo, because raw film just get exhausted just like that. So
yeah, it probably shapes the way I shoot now. My camera's never off manual. So I mean, it was a funny, I was up north just the other day, and a young kid had a Fuji camera, and he came up to me and we started having a chat, and he's just like, he's talking about all these exposure modes, and I was just like, my camera's never even been off manual. I wouldn't have a clue even how to get them on. I know everything about the camera except how to change these modes. So it was probably a little bit embarrassing. I might have to do a bit more homework. Aperture priority, and I was like, it's never been on. It's just manual like the whole time.
To be honest, that makes the two of us, because I was schooled by someone on the internet the other day, like, you should shoot in aperture priority mode. I was like, why? I always shoot manual. It's either manual or nothing. Yeah, I don't know, but maybe we belong to the same old school mentality, where everything is more about absolute control and making sure that everything is done by us and not leave the computing to the camera. I don't know. I just feel safer. I don't know about you, but for me, I just feel safer when I have absolute control over my cameras. Yeah,
especially in the ocean, you're dealing with a lot of dark blues, and the camera will be saying, it's quite dark. If you're on auto, that's what it'll be saying, and then all of a sudden, the wave will explode, and it's the bright, and it's really super bright. So you've got to find that in between medium. And so I've just, being on and I've just stuck with it. I mean, you can't have your camera sort of guessing how bright it is when you're shooting white water.
Yep.
That's for sure. I can imagine, I've never shot in the snow, but I can imagine it's similar to that. Because Jesus, it's bright out here. It's quite white.
At the end of the day, the idea of you shooting film really makes you wonder, why would you want to step away from manual mode at all in the first place? Because that's how we started. But I'm curious, since we're still talking about film here, when you finish those one roll of 36 shots, do you pedal back to the shore and then after that change film and then go back out again to and fro, or was it just like, I'm done with 36 and that's it?
No, it depends on the day. Like during the film days, I was always learning, so I kind of had to, swim back in, change the roll of film, and swim back out, or I'd just swim back in and then I'd go surfing, one of the two. So just depending on the day and who I was like working with. But I kind of like it now, more so now, because obviously you can take a lot more shots. And back then I was 3 or 4 years into it, I was shooting more, pro surfers or really high level surfers. So I was trying to get into magazines. So I wouldn't be shooting the average, like the everyday surfer like myself, because you'd be wasting shots, and the last thing you want to do is swim all the way back in and then all the way back out again.
Yep.
True, but I had autofocus as well on my lenses. You see the older guys that everything was manual, manual focus, manual this, and getting amazing shots. So I shouldn't really complain.
And just out of curiosity, what was it that totally drive you to want to make photography your career?
It took a long time. Like I've probably been doing photography full time with no extra work for maybe 6 years. So I did the fire brigade. And I combined the both, but it was the transition was I was just didn't have time for the family, so I was going the fire brigade and you're doing your 48 hours a week and overtimes, and then the other times I was shooting. This is when I was established as well, so I had a lot of work on. It's great money, but it was a awful lifestyle for my family, and I had to pick one or the other.
Yep.
And so I picked photography because I'd already nearly done by then 20 years or 19 years in the fire brigade. So I just thought I'd do something different. But it was a really difficult decision because, you go to I work with really good guys. Management probably didn't like me too much, but the guys I work with were pretty good. And you're getting paid every week and you're on a pretty good salary. Yep. So you're giving that up. The security's a tough, it's a tough word to break. Mm-hmm. To give up the lifestyle of a photographer, and as you know, it's hit and miss. Like sometimes you're on the biggest role ever, and a month later you're questioning decisions.
That's true. But when you decide to make the jump from being a firefighter to being a full-time photographer, were there any pushbacks from the family, or were they like, okay, let's be supportive of your decisions?
Not from my wife. My wife's very supportive. She's she's like a free spirit as well, so you got heaps of support, and that's all that matters in the end. Other family members are like, what are you doing? You could be this, you could be that, but you only live once. You've got to just go. You've kind of just got to go for it, and that's what I did in the end. And I didn't have any plan Bs or anything. It's like I really got to make this work.
Oh yeah.
Otherwise, no one's eating.
Was that during the time where you already picked up a digital camera, or were you still on film back then when you made the transition?
Oh no, this is all I was probably on film for the first 4 years. Wow. 3 to 4 years. That's it. Wow. And then I made the mistake of digital came in. I can't remember what camera it was. D100 or something, 5 megapixels, and I was like, I'm going to get ahead of the time. Digital's going to be it. So I sold all my film gear, jumped into digital, and it was expensive to get into digital.
Oh yeah, it was.
And then the magazines I was kind of submitting to didn't accept it, didn't even accept the files. So I went back to film, and then by the time I did that transition, they were on digital, and I had to go back to digital again. So it was an expensive couple of swaps.
Oh man, I can imagine the system change would have been very costly because lenses is another thing and camera body is another thing, and I bet even your computer setup also will have to change up as well to meet the demands of the digital camera.
Yeah.
So when did you make the full transition to Fuji?
4 years ago now, 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh.
Yeah, so I was lucky. I think I had one of the X100 series, the early ones, and I wanted a point and shoot. That's all I wanted, so I just bought it from the local camera shop.
Nice.
Camera Electronics up in Perth, and then I shot a couple of surf shots on it just from the ski. Like it was just a basic point and shoot, but I just wanted to have a camera I could stick in my pocket and sort of correct my faults of the start of not shooting enough lifestyle, because you're using massive DSLR bodies and you want to take it. It was just I was like, no, I'm going to get this little thing. So I did that, and then Fuji made contact with that camera shop and said, oh look, we're looking at someone to use this new camera coming out, which happened to be the XT2. For like some ocean stuff, and they're like, oh, this guy shoots he shot this on a Fuji, because I'd showed him what I'd shot.
Yep.
And all of a sudden I was making the transition. That's kind of how it happened. It's just a little bit more of luck.
Yeah, luck. Right place at the right time, to be honest. And what camera do you shoot with now as part of your staple equipment list when you go out to the ocean?
If I'm shooting just sports in the water, like just surfing and I can't really miss a shot, I'll use the XT3 and Aquatech housing. If I'm doing my personal projects or I'm working for clients that still print big, like tourism, because you're getting a lot of. If I can shoot surfing, I can shoot anything in the water really.
Yep.
I'll use the GFX 100 because I've got a housing for that now too. So
Brilliant.
it's. But mainly, if it's just me walking around, I'm using the X100V.
Let's take a look at
I would show it to you, but only last week when I went up north, I had this in my pocket and I was staying with another photographer called Mike Riley. He shoots surfing as well. And he's like, what is that thing? And I start showing him and I'm basically just walking around shooting lifestyle on this little camera. Mm-hmm. And then we're editing together at night and he's like, are you kidding? This thing's amazing. And he's like, I got to buy that. I said, well, and then now he's got it, so he's using it. So he's been having a go of it, and
awesome.
So I'm looking forward to getting it back. Because when I dislocated my shoulder, I thought I'm going to be out of action for at least a few weeks anyway. So Mike might as well have some fun with it.
Oh, yeah.
Might convert him as well. I think he's he shoots a lot of Canon, but he's the same. He's like, this camera's epic.
We do have a lot of a few Fuji fanboys here in on the channel as well tuning in. I know Furry Photos is one of them. He made a switch to an XT series, if I'm not wrong. I think XT2 as well. One thing I like about the Fujifilm camera, I mean, I use Sony most of the time, but I do get a hand in Fuji cameras from time to time as well. It's so subtle. That's one thing I like about the XT series. It's so quiet and so subtle. Especially when you go out in the streets and things like that, it just blends in perfectly well and nobody knows I'm taking shots. So it's just so brilliant. But the GFX 100 on the other hand, it's massive. It's like this monstrous machine, but takes wonderful shots as well. So I'm very, very curious now, how does the housing look like when you bring it into the waters?
I've got the housing for the GFX, and I'll just grab it.
Furry Photo says he's using XT3 now, not XT4
XT3?
yet. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm using most of the time.
Yeah.
So this is the housing.
Holy
custom-made housing. I'll try to get it up for the GFX.
Guys, look at that.
This port, I think, is for the 110 mil.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got another port. They're only a little bit different for the 23. So.
Yep.
But with the 23, I think I can get, I might be able to get another lens or two in it. And then this, I've kind of come up with my own design, is for a transmitter, for a flash.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, so I've gone to another level again. So this is what I'm really concentrating on, because I'm terrible at flash. Terrible. Like, I'm just not that. I can nail a few shots, but... you talk to a really good guy that's with flash, they're so technical, that's nearly going over my head. I'll take a test shot and like, shit, I've blown the guy's head off. I've got to turn this thing down. Yep. That's where I'm at with it. So that's for the transmitter, which I can take that off and just use the camera. And
so you actually bring your lights into the water as well?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
That's the flash housing.
Oh my gosh.
So that's for a Godox AD 200 Pro.
Yeah, yep.
And so far it's working. Like, I've only used it once. I got it up north when I was up north last week, and we had a huge shoot planned. I was going to go and do all these images that were in my head, and then ended up spending 8 hours in hospital. So
Goodness.
It didn't work out.
And the fact that you actually customize one unit for yourself with a transmitter inside, that just shows the amount of passion that you have for photography, taking things to the next level of your own vision of how the hardware should be like. Because normally when I see underwater photographers, they use LED lights, if I'm not wrong, continuous lighting.
Yeah.
They don't really bring flash into the water. To be honest, I think you're the first person I know who actually brings flash into the water even. So that's just amazing.
No, there's guys I've done it in the past, remote flash, not with a medium format, but I've just got this series in my head that I want to create, and I'll show you a quick shot. Hang on, I need to share.
Is this like an exclusive preview, because I don't think you've shown this around before.
Okay, I'll go here. I think I've got it. Jesus. Hopefully I've got the shot. Okay, so this is the only shot I've really got at the moment.
Wow.
You can, like up close, you can see the white speckles of the flash.
Yep.
And so I'm trying to mix the flash with the speed blur, and you know that's the GFX 100 there.
Oh.
So it'll be yeah. So you can nearly see it. How there's some details there. With the 110, the GFX 100, and 1/13 of a second.
1/13 of a second. Yep. And that's just the brilliant thing about flash. It freezes motion, and you can see the droplets. Could you zoom in 100%? Is it possible? With,
Can I zoom in, or do I have to? I'll try to open up with preview and see what happens.
Yeah. We got a few people here watching the stream as well. Matt is apparently he follows your stuff. He says, I've seen Russell's works before. It's incredible, and I can see it. Yeah, I totally agree. It's totally brilliant.
So there's a lot of white dots there. No, thanks for the kind words. So yeah, it's I haven't had anything printed yet. I've had stuff printed, but not with the flash work. So I'm interested in seeing how it goes. But it does take two people, and you got to get someone else prepared to swim out in the dark with you. So I'll probably just get my oldest. My oldest son's really good in the water.
Oh wow.
He's a pretty decent surfer, and I'll get him to swim out.
Yep. And what software do you use to process your images, out of curiosity? Because you can see that images are really so punchy. You know, when you look at the shots, you just go like, wow, it's like I'm really there.
I've been using Capture One.
Oh, brilliant! Thank you.
Yeah, and love it. It's really good. I can't believe I made the when I did this thing with the GFX for Fuji. What was it, last year? I went to Japan, did all that, had an exhibition over there, and then I met the guys from Capture One, and I was like, I've always wanted to sort of dabble with this program, and so they sent me a code, and then I started. But the good thing is the tutorial's online. I just sat down for 3 or 4 days. Anything I wanted to do, boom, tutorial, really well explained, and I wouldn't call myself an expert on it now, but I'm good enough for me anyway.
And your shots, do they need to have any form of retouching in Photoshop, or it's just processed just in Capture One and Liva? Is it? What's the other software you use?
No, that's it really. I don't really do any Photoshop work, so I do everything in Capture One.
Brilliant.
I mean, I don't take out. I mean, you can now with Capture One with I love using the layers and stuff, but I don't take out objects or anything like that, and I don't really need to go to another level. I think Capture One does an amazing job.
Brilliant. So it's totally what you see is what you get, yeah. And I think just looking at your shots, it just screams print me. I don't know. I mean, like when you look at the shots that you showed just now, I can't help but feel that I will probably appreciate even more when I see it in print, and I think that's probably your end game plan, to actually have it on print. Yeah,
that's the end. Like, that's the thing in the past where you need to print these images really big to get some sort of sense of real life scale, and my whole goal is probably to just create 10 to 20 amazing images a year like that, where you're printing 2 meters, 3 meters kind of thing. So it's how I'm experienced. Apart from the noise and the salt and stuff, that's how it should be experienced.
Yes,
real life.
Exactly. And before we brought you on just now, I was actually playing a trailer by Fujifilm showing you with the GFX 100. The trailer is called Project Real, the Storm Before Calm. And I think some folks out there were asking me about the YouTube channel link. I'll provide them later. But right now, as of today, what is it about the ocean still that still draws you back to the ocean?
Just a sense of freedom. It's kind of a place where you can think and there's no distractions. I think everyone has that kind of place. It could be amongst the trees or the mountains or whatever it may be. Some people, it could be the shops. I'm not sure, but it's just it just takes me back to that sense of freedom. I mean, even today I had a small little jog on the beach and then spent 10 minutes in the river. It's freezing. I'm trying to do these cold water plunges to help my shoulder, but it's just you got no camera, you got no surfboard, but that feeling of water, it's pretty special.
Yep. And let's talk about your philosophy behind the shots that you make. What is the philosophy behind all the shots that you've done? I mean, or the message that you want to carry across?
A lot of it, sometimes it's a byproduct of the athletes I'm working for, but I just have certain shots in my head that I want to capture, but the images that mean the most to me or have a more of a story behind them or some sort of adversity to be able to get the shot, that's kind of what impresses. At the start, when I started working, it was more capturing everything, every single surfing move and stuff like that. And what happened was I'd end up breaking my leg out at this spot, and I'm riddled with it. Like I said, my bravery outweighs my actual skill level. But and then I end up being in hospital and picking up a magazine, and it had like 1 to 10 of the best wildlife photos. And you start at number 10, and you read, and you're like, holy, these guys, I didn't realize what went into these images. I was really impressed, like some of them took months or years to get. And then what happened was I got to number 1, and it was like a tiger coming out of the water, slow-mo, beautifully shot. But then he started to explain that he shot it in a zoo. And then I was kind of thinking, hang on, you can't compare, like, this is only my opinion, nothing against the photographer. It was still a beautiful shot, but how do you compare his image with someone that's been in like that in the wild? That shot might have taken years, but then I reflected on my own work, and that's exactly what I've been doing. I've just been sitting on a ski and shooting every single moment, and not having one of those moments myself of being like the other photographers where who cares if you miss images? It doesn't matter. Like, in the end, it doesn't matter. But what matters is if you go on your journey and you try to accomplish an image. Like, when you see amazing images, like they're everywhere, aren't they, on Instagram or whatever, it should inspire you to go and create something yourself, like not recreate kind of thing. So, and then I end up just going on that journey. I'm still, obviously you've still got a job to do when you're working and you're working to a brief, but when you're doing your own personal projects, it's nice to, like, who cares if you don't get your missed shots? It doesn't matter.
Yep, true. And I think it's more than just personal gratification as well. It's more of like accomplishing your own personal challenge to yourself. And I think that in itself is worth it. Yeah. So
well and truly.
Yeah, let's talk about awards and recognition, because in your journey as a photographer over the years, you actually had some amazing key events that, like what you said just now, because of luck, things just propel you into the right direction. What would you say are some of the key events that made you a better creative or a better person?
Yeah, it's kind of like learning from the mistakes more so. Like I was saying before, a little bit of luck, the broken leg and the reading, and that changed the way. And it's a lot of the times I've changed is when I've stopped. I stop for a little while. If I'm struggling or anything, I'll just stop taking photos. I'll stop looking at social media, and I'll just stop. So that gives me a lot of time to, reevaluate and think, and or just going out in the surf with no camera and stuff like that, or a swim, it just helps you think. And it's like, okay, yeah, this is where I'm going to go next, and then just keep going, keep trying. I don't know if that answers your question in the end.
It's more like the events are piling on top of each other. It's just a matter of self-reflection, I think, rather than major events.
Yeah, for sure. It's just learning as you go and evolving at the same time. You have to evolve, or you never become a master of photography, really, do you? Not I don't think so. You just keep learning and all the young guys coming up, they push you as well, because everyone's creating amazing imagery.
Would you feel that the competition is getting tighter now because of accessibility to technology, and everyone's able to do what you're doing? Do you feel that kind of pressure?
Oh yeah, for sure. Because it's product versus demand. It's like the demand is very low at the moment. Let's just talk surf photography. The magazines are closing. Where's the money coming from? And I saw that happening 10 years ago, I think. So I started moving into different fields, and because I knew it was going to dry up. Like the surf photography could have made up at least 50% of my income at one stage, easy, if not more, is now probably very limited, because there's just no demand for it. And the photographers themselves, I don't know what happened there. The photographers themselves kind of have shot themselves in the foot in a way, because they're building their their name by working for basically free for a brand, thinking once I've got my name, then I can start charging. But you already shoot amazing work, so you should be getting paid for that. And they create this standard that in the end they find that they can't live off. Obviously you can't live off a $30 watch they give you for a shot or whatever it is. Yeah. So it's just been, a little smarter and working together. And that's why I kind of get into the teaching, because, I give my rates to everyone that asks, young kid, how much do you charge for this? This is what I charge. And they'll say, well, I can't charge this amount of money because I haven't got your name. And I actually thought that when I started as well, and then I got a bit of a hand. And it's not true. You have an image, you have a product that they like. They don't care about your name. You have a beautiful image that's worth something to the brand or the company.
Yep. And I guess like what Free Photos mentioned in the chat, the exposure conundrum. It's a problem here in Singapore as well, because you don't know when you should limit yourself to working with brands, and then I wouldn't say being exploited, although there is a fine line between the word collaboration and being exploited at the moment. But I think like what you said, we got to be smart about that. And of course, this is something that I would like to explore further later on as we go through the interview. But now that you brought it up, Steve, so I'll just talk about it anyway.
Sorry about that.
No worries. That's the thing about this kind of talk shows. It's very fluid and it's very incidental sometimes. But one of the things that makes things a little bit more challenging right now is not just because technology is very easily accessible, but this is what I feel. The constant need for self-validation through social media, for example. I mean, you've seen it. Some folks out there are shooting because they want to make a name for themselves, and they're willing to go through all kinds of possibilities just to get noticed, including working for free. And sometimes this is where the problem starts, because when do you say enough is enough and you start charging, and then when do you actually put your foot down and tell companies, okay, look, we need to start talking about rates, and then they go like, well, it's time to move on to another photographer who's willing to shoot for free still. There's that problem.
Yeah.
So I don't, on my end, I don't think there's any solution other than photographers having the self-realization and actually deciding for themselves when to charge. Otherwise it's gonna be just another prolonged cycle, to the point where maybe some photographers even quit altogether because they just couldn't afford it anymore.
Yeah, I've seen plenty of photographers start that way, and none of them are working now because they have created that standard. If you want to work for free, work for a non-for-profit or something like that.
Yes.
And build your name up through, because some of their platforms are huge, and they need a hand, and they're not making money as such off your brand or your images.
Yep. And the other thing is, I'm not sure if you're aware, but there are some magazines out there that actually charge photographers to be featured on their pages, including online portals. And I gotta admit, I used to do that as well. I'll pay a magazine to feature my work, and hope for the best and ask for critique. But over time, I realized that I'm just adding on to their profits, nothing more. I don't get anything out of this. It's nice that my work's featured, but it's not gonna bring me any value altogether.
Yeah.
But
it just has to be a win. It has to be a win-win for everyone. I'm happy with a win-win. If it suits you as a photographer that you're making this, or you're getting this in product and you're getting X amount of dollars and it suits them, that's fine.
Yeah,
that's
agreed.
good. But yeah, I'm not into. I mean, I remember this book. And I always wanted to get in this photography book. It's something in America, and they sent me out, and we've picked one of your shots for the cover. And I was like, oh, this is amazing. And then I kind of kept reading, and I had to pay $8,000.
Wow.
I was like, what? That doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't.
You've got to look through the perception of all that, and people don't realize that's happening. Like previously, when I saw that book, and I've seen other photographers, they've put it out there going, I've just got the cover of this book. They don't say I paid $8,000 for it.
Yeah.
And so I didn't even realise that they'd paid for the exposure, where it doesn't. That was a book that's making a lot of money. I was wow.
$8,000. Guys,
$8,000 to get the cover. Like it was, I can't remember the name. I won't drop the name anyway, but totally up to them. But it's, there's a lot of false perception.
That's true.
For sure.
That's true. And I think one of the best ways to actually get noticed is to actually do it the more organic way. I mean, like if people actually approach you to be featured, then I guess that would make sense, rather than paying a publication to actually feature a work. I don't think that's right. I mean, I'm just speaking from my own personal experience because I used to do that, and I realized that at the end of the day, it's nothing. It was just $250 that I'll never get back. Although it was featured, it was a feel-good moment for a couple of days, but at the end of the day, it doesn't do much. But $8,000 for a cover page, wow, that's next level daylight robbery right there.
It's a lot of advertising, isn't it? But it's sort of like like you said, it should be a bit more organic. That's false advertising.
Yep.
I always thought that front cover was deserved. Or any shot in there was deserved, but obviously not.
Exactly. I mean, you basically paid to win. This is not right.
Yeah.
Okay, so if let's say we're talking about your evolution as a creative, may I know how has Fujifilm supported you over the years? Because you started with a very interesting story how they actually chanced upon your work through the shop, and how did this relationship evolve over time?
I end up doing the full transition to the Fujis, the X-T2s. I was pretty happy how they performed, and I didn't realise sort of what camera it was until I was shooting like an art book for a client of all these artists. And I struggled the first few times. Like I'm not like this is quite a few, this is 5 or 6 years ago, and then when I pulled out the Fuji, it was like, wow, like they just continued on working how they should. They weren't freaking out about the size, and I'm thinking, I could do this. I could do the full transition, and I love it just got me at a perfect time. I was ready for a change, and they just felt like a really good camera, good colors, and not every camera is perfect. There's always something that doesn't do this, it doesn't do that. I'm not really into that. There's always workarounds for any camera.
True.
Like people say to me, you shouldn't be shooting with the GFX. I shot everything from land last week with the GFX because I've got no more land lenses for the X series because I've been selling and doing a full change over to medium format. So, and they're like, well, you shouldn't really be shooting that. I'm like, just press the trigger at the right time.
Yeah.
Just that's all you have to do. Like that, it's not difficult. So there's always workarounds, but so, and then it just evolved from there. And I'm always doing a fair bit for them. I've done a few talks, and I said to my son just the other day, he kind of semi-asked me the same question, and I actually saw it as an opportunity as well, like a big opportunity doing because I didn't know anyone in the surfing world that was using Fuji for surfing or anything ocean related, and so I would probably stand out.
Yep.
That's what true. I thought, and I took the gamble, And at the start, I might have missed a couple of shots trying to get it, it readjusted to the cameras, and then it's sort of evolved from there. It's been good. They're a good company. Like I end up doing an exhibition in Japan with the XT2 images, and I end up having a meeting, and it ended up being like 8 or 9 of the guys from Japan in there, just bombarding me with questions on how to make this camera better. And I'm like, no, it's fine. But there was when you use with the XT2, you can't. The aperture was on the lens. You couldn't change it to the dial.
Oh yeah.
And I said, I'm having problems. I wish I could have a way of changing the aperture on the camera. I know it's not possible. And they just turned around and said, no, we can do that. Oh. And I was like, what? How do you do it? It's not like I come up with it. I won't claim that it was me. They'd already done it. These guys have thought of everything, but they really listened to photographers, and I was really happy with that. I couldn't believe it. And next, the XT3 comes out, or the XH1 actually came out with it, where you could put the aperture in auto, but actually it really means change it on the dial, which now you could use it in the Aquatech housing and have full manual control.
Yep.
Which is amazing. It's just like, so they listen. And it's been good. It still feels like a camera,
Yeah,
it's got that real camera feel.
And I think that's the thing about Fuji. I do hear a lot of very positive feedback with regards to the R&D team over there. They listen to the customers, they listen to the photographers, they listen to the users of the cameras, and that is textbook. It makes a company more successful, and I'm very glad that they are very receptive to a lot of ideas and make changes appropriately, because that's how you retain your customer base. Yeah.
That's the perfect way to do it. You just listen, and then if 10,000 people are going, this isn't working and we should be doing this, they'll change it.
Exactly.
And it's amazing. It blows my mind. Like, I have I've just got where they can send something over the internet, like an upgrade, and all of a sudden your camera does this.
Oh yeah, firmware updates. Yep.
How does that work?
I don't know.
Incredible.
I know the GFX100 had some massive changes to the firmware updates. The same goes for the XT series, I think. One of them is some feature update that allows you to do something I can't recall it right now. Suddenly, I don't know why, but these are the kind of things that make the hardware even more interesting, because you are not buying additional cameras, but you're getting new features, and it's just a firmware update. It's just brilliant.
Yeah, and you even in XT2, I think you can. My wife's got mine. I think you can shoot 4K on that now or something.
Oh yeah, you can. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Brilliant. It's in the XT3. There you go, guys. You don't need to, if you wanted to shoot 4K, there's your upgrade. It's pretty impressive, and they don't charge you.
Exactly.
They just want you to use the cameras.
People from Sony, if you're watching this right now, take notes.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so in your journey as a photographer, have you come across any pushbacks or setbacks that made you go, that's tough?
I probably that one of the hardest times I had was we decided this is the long-winded story. I'll cut it down, but we sold up everything in Margaret River, and we were moving to New Zealand, and then we were going to get on a ship, and whatever happened, it just didn't happen like that. We did move to New Zealand, so I started offloading a few clients from here, thinking that I was going to go to New Zealand, and I was kind of hoping my reputation would be, it just didn't mean anything. I really had to start from scratch, and I wasn't prepared for it. And that took me a good couple of months to get a better mindset and find a different direction. We ended up spending a year and a half there and coming back, but because other things didn't work out. But I ended up getting work, but it was a real grind for sure. It was tough. It was what have I done,
And how do you...
Is that what you kind of mean by pushbacks?
Yeah. But how do you overcome that in the end? Do you retract back your plans or something?
You just have to think what to do. Like there's always an answer, and I've got a little think. People photographers are just trying to make themselves bigger names on Instagram so they get employed. Yep. But you can, wherever you are in the world, you can create content because people need content. So I just started going more local where I was, started doing stories on, introducing people and going for the direct relationships and kind of forgetting like how many followers I had on Instagram or whatever. It didn't matter. It meant nothing over there. So it was all about going and trying to make personal relationships that I could get work from, and they end up. I'm still working for the company in New Zealand now. It's my biggest. I call them my friends really. Now I've been with them for 3 or 4 years, and I create all their content. That was actually my wife probably getting that job. She went in there and she was looking around, going, "There's a lot of ocean lifestyle images in there that were, average. Let's just say average at best." And rang the boss, and then end up with this personal relationship, and now I'm good friends with him, and it's been great.
Oh, fantastic!
So it's creating that. It's not looking at the big companies going, how come I'm not getting work here and stuff like that. It's just looking real close and creating the work, and it's cheaper as well. You don't have to get on an airline and time wise, because every business needs content.
Yep.
For social, basically. So there's actually more content required now than in the past, really. I know there's a lot more photographers, but if every photographer is doing exactly the same thing, there's a few gaps in the market.
Yeah, and I think that's just how we have to evolve. So I've also got a trailer I want to show the audience at home, showcasing how you are looking at your old images and sharing your thoughts openly. So let's take a look at that as well. Stand by.
I look at my photography work the last few years and just hating it, just thinking, that's so easy. When has it become a moment where you look back on a shot and go, oh my God, what went into that? Oh, that took some skill. There's not many photos that talk to me like that, especially my own. Waves of consequence. Once you've come out, and even if you didn't get the shot, you feel quite alive, I think. You'll get to a wave, maybe say like the right, and you'll think, shit, yeah, it's pretty big. Are you scared? No, I'm more excited. I've got no problem with drowning, getting eaten, anything really. If I do drown, it's my own fault. It'll be my own fault for not training. You've got to work up to that. It's not like you can just go and do it because you're crazy. I don't think I'm crazy. I'm living, and how I die, you're not going to get a choice in the end, are you? One shot, that's it. That's why I'm trying to live it best I can.
Brilliant, one shot. So this is the thing I've been meaning to ask you, because when you're looking at your that trailer and you're looking at your old shots, you just go like 4 hours, I think, that kind of thing. Now looking back, if you can actually go back in time 10 years or even more, what would you tell yourself?
Oh, geez, it's a tough one, isn't it? I kind of never look back like that. It's if if I had to do something, it would be probably for 10 years I've been telling myself to incorporate more video work. So more motion, and which I've never done. And then my son sort of picked it up, so I'm kind of doing a bit more direction with him, and he's a little bit of a whiz on the computer. And I don't know why I didn't do it back then. I think it was I was scared of learning another or just spending way more time on the computer. But I would definitely do motion and stills. I mean, I shoot a little bit of motion now and then, especially if someone needs a swimmer or something in the water, but not to that extent. I should have picked that skill up and ran with it as well. Doubled up.
Why motion in particular?
I just think motion is pretty important as well, and having both would be, I would be stronger today for sure. Like as a brand or a business, to be able to do both well. I mean, you know, I've got a general idea, but I'm definitely not, renowned for shooting motion, or I'm not getting jobs for video or something like that. So I wish I'd added that to the arsenal.
So basically, you become more of a hybrid creative, being able to do photography as well as motion at the same time. And would you ever go back to a photo from the past and try to recreate it in the present?
Nah. I just kind of want to move on, and I come up with other shots in my head, and I want to move on for sure. Like the one shot, I'm not pursuing those type of shots anymore, just because there's, a lot goes into it. It's a little bit selfish as well. Like you got to take off the swells, and because you're missing so much action shots and you're only going for one certain shot, you're not really doing enough to for a brand or for a magazine. So no, I think you just got to keep evolving and keep pursuing. Like you're not really ever being like, what's the word? You're always doing something similar to someone. Everyone's done something like that in the past. It's really difficult, but it's just, I like to compare the one thing I like to do is compare myself now with 2 years ago and 5 years ago. I'm not one of those. I really have to tell myself not to compare. I don't get on social and go, I wish I did this and wish I did that, and because it's just not the real world. So I just like to compare my work now with what it was like years ago, and then hopefully another 5 years it'll be better again.
Basically an evolution of the photographer's eye, I guess. Then let's talk about this thing called projects of purpose, because I saw it come up quite a few times in when I was doing my research on your work. Can you tell us more about what projects of purpose is all about?
Yeah, so projects of purpose to me is where your images can somehow make change, or you're working for a company that's making change. Like for years I've just been shooting, just beautiful surf shots, and in the end that's all they are. That's helping a brand sell more wetties or whatever they do. But projects of purpose is like images that I can work for, say like One Blue Ocean or Surf Aid or Take 3 for the Sea, or a company that's doing something great for the environment and where the images mean something. So I'm trying to, that's my goal, to incorporate the work I want to do with helping a project of purpose, but also bringing a corporate identity as well. So it's kind of like, in my perfect world, I'll be shooting this like golden triangle thing, so everyone can benefit. Like I'm still getting paid from the corporate world, but the project itself is benefiting, and whichever that could be, humanitarian and stuff like that. So that's been my goal for the last 2 or 3 years. So even doing exhibitions, they'll have an underlying thing where for example, I've got a mate who's got a company called Uunguu Music, and he teaches music to kids that are struggling and all around WA. So the next time he goes out bush, is what we call it, and he's trying to teach these really remote communities music, I want to come and document the whole trip. Then out of the trip, I want to create 10 one-off pieces, and then all the money will go towards buying more musical instruments for the kids. But somehow I've still got to get paid by a corporate that could actually use those images as well to, you know, because in the end they're helping. It's kind of like that's my goal. That's the complete goal for the next few years for sure.
Brilliant. Could you share some of these works that you already have online for projects of purpose?
Geez, did I get any of those? I'll see if I've got any out. I'll have a quick look.
Is your dog chewing onto something? That's what some of the viewers are concerned about right now.
I've got the file, and there's probably, I didn't really end up getting the images out, but what I'll do is I will have a quick look here. Can you still see me while I'm doing this?
Yeah, you haven't shared a screen, so I can still see you.
I haven't shared a screen yet, no worries.
And your cute little doggo is digging for something in the back.
Yeah. Oh, you can hear that? I've got my headphones in.
Yeah, it's okay.
Hang on, I'll get him at the same time.
Yeah. Oh, Little Brit, thank you for joining us and thank you for subscribing. There we go.
So yeah, these are kind of like a few images, like with the Rangers. So I don't know if you can see those type of images. I'm not sure if they're going to they're not going to blow up on the website, but they're using these images to create like a day pass to go into, on their lands. And then with that money, they're putting it into schools and the ranges and stuff like that. So this was a music project up north, and that was the Boondaroo music that I was talking about.
Yep.
So it's all that type of imagery, and where you're really making change compared to the surfing, where it's more brand related.
Yep.
So.
And you also have works that have been published as well. Maybe you could share some of your published works.
I will. I'll just grab this dog.
Hello.
He's trying to get his ball.
Now we have another guest on the house in the show.
This is Tim.
Hi, Tim.
I have to get my.
Oh, look at that, so cute. How old is Tim?
Tim is about a year and a half.
Still a pupper.
He's put me into the. I was about fourth in line in the family, and now I'm fifth. But behind the three kids and the dog. The dog's the winner.
Oh, that's so cute.
He's number one.
Look at Tim, guys. Now he's part of the stream. Yeah, so a lot of people are saying hi to Tim right now, waves and smiley faces. So Tim is getting more popular.
He's pretty cute.
Yep.
He's probably going to go back to that basket in a second. I might have to actually get him out.
Is that his own basket, or is that something?
Yeah, he just got like a basket of toys.
Ah.
I'll share this. I'll keep talking and just get this basket. Otherwise, he's going to keep doing that. He's finding something. He's probably going to bring it back to me.
So all his toys are inside the basket.
So I just left the published works on my website. So I'll just share the screen again.
Sure.
And then go with there.
Yeah.
Just getting the work. So yeah, these are just a few shots, and there's a lot of surf shots in here, obviously, and then other jobs like, for Qantas right there. Different magazines. The magazine world's drying up though. It's, I hope print comes back.
Yeah,
Print's so nice. It's good to see you work in print. I had I'll scroll and keep talking at the same time.
Sure.
But I had a writer say to me, online and print are like it's like a swell. Like online is like a wind chop. It's short and small, and for him it's like people are reading it and it's gone. But in print it's like a really strong swell.
Yep.
where, you know, it lasts for a lot longer and people appreciate it. It looks beautiful. So, you know, I encourage everyone to get their work in print. It's actually really nice. It's a good feel. It's still a really good feeling for me.
And I think the thing about print is that it feels that your works are now more tangible because you can hold it up in your hands rather than, you know, just viewing it on the virtual screen. There, for those people watching at home, if you've never printed before, you wouldn't understand the feeling, because once you see it out there in print, trust me, you see photography differently. You start to realign yourself. You start to think of yourself more as a someone who needs to think before taking any shots, because, you know, last time, maybe in the past, you used to just spray and pray, and now when you print, you just go like, oh, now I need to shoot with a purpose. I need to be more deliberate in the way I shoot. And I think I dare say print makes better photography, or better photographers.
Yeah, or even like a simple thing of turning your camera to not spraying, just like one shot, just taking one shot. So you actually have to think before you press, or give yourself a little. You can only take 5 shots, and how do you create a story out of those 5 shots? So little things like that you can do for yourself, and then you think more, and you spend time thinking. I do it. I still do it. I'll do little things like that but you know, I'm shooting a lot of medium format now, so I'm only really taking one shot anyway, so but it definitely makes you think, or, you know, pick up a roll of film and, you know, see how many shots you can get that are keepers out of 36 shots.
Yep.
Like you want to, towards the end with the surfing, I was probably getting, you know, and this is in the water as well, I was probably around, you know, the 28 to 30 mark, which was pretty good. But it'd take hours to get. So it's a good feeling. Like you think differently and you see differently when you have to do that.
And maybe you can talk a little bit about more your preparations for a shot. Since you're talking about the process, how will you approach your shots in terms of the prep work and workflow when it comes to things like your commercial works, your portrait works, or even when you shoot waves? What kind of preparatory actions do you actually have to undertake before you actually go into the production site?
With the commercial work, you're normally working to a brief and what the client wants. So there's a lot of communication with the client, and then this dog's trying to play with me. And then, you know, it's all that communication with the client, and like they have an idea on what they want shot, but they don't actually see in light or moments or things like that. They just go, this is what we want, but they can't get those shots in the middle of the day or whatever they want. So once you get past all that communication and then go out and do location scouting, and I work a lot with my wife doing that, so that's pretty good. And it's just, and then you kind of got to try to intertwine your sort of how you feel it should look as well, which is all the same thing, all about communication with the client. You know, basically I just listen to them and exactly portray on what they want, and then blend in my own sort of thing and go from there. So it's nice doing that. Portraits is all about having that relationship, and sometimes I don't take a photo depending where I'm at. You know, if I'm under the pump, obviously I've got to take the shot, but it's nice to be able to have that bond. And, you know, I was not really, I'm only just starting to do it a lot more, but years ago, I wanted to start shooting a lot more portraits, but I just wasn't, you know, you're kind of freaking out on how to communicate with people or strangers and stuff. So all I did was, for about 2 months, I had to talk to one stranger every day. Not take a photo, just get good at creating a conversation and listening to people, and that helped with my portrait work. You know, now I can, you know, I communicate with people, I'm listening, I'm actually quite engaged on what they're doing and their story anyway, because I'm quite passionate about people's stories. And then the waves things, I'll have certain shots in my head that I want to create. And the ocean, it's all about timing and conditions, and there's a lot that goes into it and you miss a lot of stuff because it just doesn't work out.
Yep. A lot of unpredictable waves, so to speak, and you just gotta catch them.
Yeah, I mean, the creative process for a lot of it, I listen to other people when they answer that question, but for me, it's a lot of the time is through boredom. Like I try to get, if I'm struggling with something, I just turn off, or I go somewhere where I can just shut down, and then I come up with ideas.
Yep.
Like if you're stimulated, like on social media, you're not really putting your mind to anything. You're not, and then you might get influenced about other people's work and stuff like that. So just turn everything off and go for a walk. Or I come up with ideas every single day when I go out in the morning on my own and go for a walk or a jog or something like that. I'm like, this will be good. And then I'll get home and say, what do you think about this, to my wife? And she'll just roll her eyes and that's not going to work. I'm like, okay, then we'll go with this. So it's a good way. It's kind of a weird way to be creative, but yeah, through boredom.
Brilliant. And I remember distinctively that we had a conversation via email because I responded to you very early in the morning and you're like, you're an early riser as well. And that struck me because you do go out early in the morning. Does that help with the creative workflow? Being an early riser and all?
Yeah, it helps, but also helps with if I could only shoot the first hour of light and the last hour of light, that's all I would do with the ocean. Mm-hmm. It's just beautiful. It's just beautiful, soft light.
Yep.
And it just feels like everything looks good. Everything's saturated and it looks amazing. It's, sometimes I'll go to shoots and it'll be like, I'll get home and I'm like, oh my God, that was the worst shoot ever. Like, they're going to hate these shots. I hate these shots.
Oh, man.
I don't even want to give them to the client, like, because I wasn't feeling it. And then the wife will say, no, they actually don't look too bad. But you just have those feelings where it's just not good and personally good. But then they come back and they love it. It's strange, It's like, wow, oh, okay, that's good. I've had a couple of them lately where I've gone with too many expectations to a job. I had to just do a shoot for a gallery on an artist, and when they explained it to me, I was like, oh, this is going to be awesome. Like, he's got his own massive studio, and I was thinking of this crazy studio, and I'm going to set up lights, and I had 20 shots in my head, and I got there, and he creates it in his office. Like his front office at home. And I was like, like, this is not in my head. Like, I can't create anything. And it was one of those where the 20 shots I had in my head became, you may do, and they loved the shots. They did like the shots, but for me, I went with all these expectations, and which I probably shouldn't have done, and I should have just kind of got there. And, because this was like a small job, so it's not like you had hours to have a look at locations and stuff. But where I got his address, I thought I was in an industrial area and stuff like that. So yeah, you have plenty of those type of jobs.
How often would you say do you suffer from self-doubt? Or is this like an ongoing process thing because it's part of the creative process where you? Yeah,
a lot. It's not like it used to be. It's like I know that I need to change my mindset straight away, so I do. It's I've probably got a little bit wiser with age. Mm-hmm. So, but still, I think I had a thing, or even just up north when I just had one of those days where I end up losing a drone.
Oh man.
I lost a drone, and then something else happened, and then I busted my shoulder, and I was just like, oh my, this is just like, you just want to go and work for someone else and kind of where you're getting paid at the end of the week, and you don't, you haven't got the family relying on your performance and stuff like that. So yeah, you do, but it's a good reminder to give you a kick up the bum, and because there's always an answer. There's always an answer. I mean, even like what we're all going through that COVID and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And, when that came, it really made you think, do I really have a good business model? And am I healthy? Do I have a good, healthy model, and do I have a good business model? If my business can't survive for 2 or 3 weeks, it's not really that good.
It's a huge problem.
It's a huge problem. I need to adapt. I need to start finding clients closer to home. I need to do a lot of things. So I had a lot of self-doubt in those first few days, like probably the whole world. And in the end, I've probably got a lot better than a lot of places. So yeah, there was a lot of self-doubt there for sure.
And what do you do to ensure that the self-doubt is not going to limit your creative process, or prevent you from paralyzing yourself so that you can't go out and shoot? Because I know of some creatives who let the self-doubt linger and fester to the point where they stop engaging their own motor drives to actually go out there and shoot at all in the first place, and they just quit altogether.
Yeah, I wonder if their self-doubt is, I don't really have self-doubt on my skill level, especially with the ocean and the surf. Like, I'm always going to produce something. There's no, even I have this kind of thing in my head. This is what I want it, depending on conditions. Like with the surf, if I'm creating, I want to get good surf shots. As soon as I get something in the bag, I move or I change. And then I'll go for a little bit more creative work where it doesn't matter if you've missed, because you've already got something to fall back on. Yep. And the client doesn't know what you're really doing anyway. So you can I don't really have self-doubt about the skill. It's more self-doubt about where the next job's coming from. And it's like, I feel like if I'm not working for a few days, that I'm failing in a way. Like, and, you go through those times. But it's also a good way to make you think and change, because you have to. Like, we've all had to change. Like, geez, the whole world's changing at the moment. It's crazy. Like, look what you're doing with your, this live show and all the things you got going.
Thank you.
That's incredible.
Thank you. It's I think because of COVID-19, it's at first, to be honest, I just want to share a little bit about what happened. Because COVID-19, like what you said, totally changed everything. I used to shoot quite often with commercial works, but because of COVID-19, a lot of things got canned. My whole year of workshops and seminars and travels all just cancelled in one night, and it was just a little bit too much to take in. But there was a lot of self-doubt about like what you said just now. How's the business plan going to hold up? Because none of my business plans actually included COVID-19 as a problem. I never thought of it that this thing would exist. I mean, I have backup plans for, okay, what if equipment fails? What if clients change their mind? All these things are part and parcel of what I've been going through for the past few years. But the pandemic is something totally new. It just paralyzes everything. So I know of a lot of photographers who actually quit and sell off their camera gear, their lenses, everything, lighting, everything is sold off. But I was stupid enough to hang back and keep everything. And then I realized that, all this gear sitting around at home is not going to help me much unless I do something with them. I mean, cameras are cameras, but they are only useful if you take them out and shoot. But I can't go out and shoot either because, pretty much Singapore is on a lockdown. So that's where the idea for live streaming actually happened. So for those people watching at home, if you're wondering, like what Russell and I were talking about, sometimes when we face this kind of setbacks or adversities or problems, look at it from a different perspective. We are photographers. We're supposed to find solutions no matter what. And, there's always a few things you can use or even a different perspective you can follow through with. And basically find a way to continue surviving, because that's what we're going to do now. So live streaming is actually... it never came to my mind as something that's going to be profitable. It still isn't. But at least I get to connect with fellow photographers, and we bounce off ideas with each other and see how we can help each other. And that's just the brilliant part of building the community. And what I'm trying to say is that at the end of the day, just find ways to survive. I see that in chat right now, some folks are talking about how they should listen to that portion of how you find yourself stuck with self-doubt, and then now you actually find ways to continue surviving. So I think that's pretty much it, Matt. That's for you. So I think at the end of the day, yeah, we just gotta find a way. Just gotta find a way. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what else are you gonna? I mean, I'm in the same boat. I had 3 trips planned, sort of back to back. They were probably going for 2 months or 3 months. Then we had a workshop in Sydney, and then we had a workshop in up north here, and they all got canned. Everything. There was like your whole income, so the kids could eat, is canned. But in the end, I do live in a pretty good place. The government was pretty good, like to fall back on. So you're pretty lucky. And then I had to say, well, how can I be more valuable to the clients I've got? Some of the clients that I've had in the past, that these are the clients that kind of come back once or twice a year. Once a year, they're not like an ongoing client. Mm-hmm. I gave them my stock library images for nothing. Like for 6 months, I've got this back end where I've got so many ocean images. So I created that for them and said, look, I know you guys are going through a tough time. Here it is for free. Like, I'm not making money, but the relationship that I'm building is good. So when everyone comes out of this on the other side, hopefully I'm on, and they do start needing work, that I'm in their forefront. But anyway, it's not it's just about them and giving. And then how do I make myself more value for the client that I'm more on a retainer with? Like now I can't, like normally I need to fly to the Gold Coast. I'm on a contract where I have to do 3 trips a year, and then I've got to go to New Zealand to do a trip. Can't do any of that. And okay, so what do you do? Like, what can I do for you? And come up with ideas. I'm always coming up with creative, and we've just recently launched our own online magazine for that company, because they put so much money into advertising, and sometimes they're paying for advertorials, where as a team we could do this ourselves. So I created the website for them. Obviously the designer put the final touches on, and now we're going out creating stories for them, and they're still pretty strong. Their online sales are pretty good. And the owner's he's kind of taught me a little bit that there's always opportunity. There's opportunity amongst it. You just got to find it. And I mean, I'm spending money on marketing for the first time, money that I don't really have. And hopefully that pays off at the end. It's, you just got to go for it, and then who knows? But yeah, just keep trying. But we're all in different sort of situations, so it's what may work for me might not work for someone else. And then you've got to get off your bum and do it. It's like what you're doing right there. I mean, I did a couple of interviews with photographers, with Warren Keelan, where I think we did 2, and I was just like, oh, this is hard work, isn't it? Like, this takes a lot of time. It's not even live. It's nothing compared to what you're doing now. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I could do this.
Oh man, thank you so much. That's high praise coming from you, sir. Thank you. But let's talk about social media, since you brought up social media for a fair bit just now. You have this very massive following on Instagram. And here's the thing. I just want to wrap my head around this, because you do prints, you do exhibitions and all that, but you still use Instagram. Is it kind of weird to actually shoot medium format and still use Instagram as a platform, or is it because there are other reasons why you still follow Instagram?
Well, I don't use Instagram. I'm not shooting medium format for Instagram. The shots are just. I use Instagram as a portfolio. That's it. So if someone does look me up, this is the type of work I do. And no one knows what you can. I mean, everyone looks good on a 3-inch screen. It's more like a portfolio of work. It doesn't really matter what camera that I'm using, and so
true.
Yeah. So, and with the numbers sort of thing, that's just organically grown. Like I remember when, I don't know how long I've been on. I didn't get on it from the start. Like I really avoided it because I was like, I'm not doing this. Like, I'm not. There's no way I'm spending time on this. And then one of the Aquatech, one of the companies I've done a little bit of, I get their housings. They said you should look at this Instagram thing. And my oldest son goes, yeah, you get on the Instagram, I'll set up the account. But he couldn't believe it. He had like 400 followers or something. My son had been on for about 2 years. And I think because I think it must have been entwined with Facebook, I didn't know too much about it. But I woke up and I had 1,500 followers.
Wow.
Like one day. I was like,
In
what the
one
hell?
day?
Is this normal? I had 10,000 in a week.
Wow.
Just because I had a Facebook page that had about probably 80 or 90,000 people on it. So I think it's just, when you get on Instagram, and this is before it was really flooded, like,
Yeah.
and they were like, oh, Russell Ord's on Instagram. And so my numbers really built up to maybe 50K really quick. And then, you're working for companies like Red Bull who have got, who knows, millions.
Yeah.
And then it's really stopped now. Sometimes it goes backwards. It's kind of like, but in the end, like people have to, it's perception, it's not my real life. It's, I didn't put any shots up on, like we were talking about of me struggling and trying to meditate in the ocean, trying to figure out what to do next.
Yep.
It's all about, oh, look at this, look at that. So it's just a portfolio. And then I say to him, I've got, I don't know how many followers. Would you rather have that many followers or that people would just like your images, which I appreciate, and and the comments and stuff I really do appreciate, or would you prefer to have 100 clients that pay you money?
Yep.
But which one would you? I'd rather have, like, sorry about the followers, I'm probably going to lose like thousands saying this, but I'd rather have the 100 clients that are just paid clients. Yep. that are on it. So it's, everyone's looking for the new thing. How are you going to get big? And, and you see all those people making lots of money being influencers and stuff. I've never really used mine for anything. So apart from a portfolio, and, I'm not spending, I give myself like I've got to run a couple of ones with a magazine. I'm trying to give that up because I don't like doing it. But, I give myself, I think 35 minutes a day or something. 40 minutes a day on social.
Yep. And
then that's it.
So it's like you limit yourself to social media like Facebook and Instagram.
Because I don't know if I get a lot of work from there. I don't think so. I don't sell a lot of prints from there. I just kind of in my head use it as a portfolio, and I'd rather that time to go out and meet someone, and which could be a potential client. Like this week, I've met 2 potential clients just from going out face to face. They already knew who I was, but then when you go out and talk to them, that's the biggest thing. How many times you do a job, and they're like, these shots are going to be amazing. They haven't seen the shots. It's just that they're having a good experience.
Yep.
So you're a good person, and you're good with the clients, you're good with the models, you're good with everybody, and just be a good person. If you're the shittest photographer in the world and you were that good, you'd probably still get work.
That's true.
Because people are having a good experience with you. But if you're like a photographer that everything's difficult and you're creating problems, you're not going to keep those clients. And people, even now, you've got to listen. You've got to be good with your clients for sure.
Yep.
They're number one. They're paying the bills.
Exactly. And attitude makes the difference, really. And that's just part and parcel of being a photographer. You have to make sure your clients feel good, make sure that your clients actually enjoy the experience of working with you, because the last thing we want is to work with someone who we don't really want to hang around with. That's pretty much it. Yeah. So I have one last trailer I want to share with the audience. It's about one shot, and this one is called An Image and an Attitude. And believe me, guys, if you watch this trailer, it's really inspiring, because it makes you really want to go out there and catch the wave and take a shot of it. It's just brilliant. So I just noticed your dog again. It's got something in his mouth. Okay, there we go. Alright, so stand by, guys. I'm gonna play the trailer in a bit.
Not many people in the world do what he does, and he's got to know that at some point things could go horribly, horribly wrong.
If he didn't come back, he goes out doing something that he loves.
Russell Ord shooting that huge death-defying slab, and he's out there with a fisheye. To me, that seems incomprehensible.
He's pushing himself. He's just got that in him. He's always had that in him. You don't quench it, you don't try to suffocate it, because I know that our kids will look back and go, wow, that's a whole nother way of living your life. And life is so short.
Your freedom's getting clogged up. If I wanted to experience that feeling of freedom, I needed to create space, so the only space left was in the impact zone.
Totally inspiring. I cannot put in words how I feel really when I saw only your hand sticking out above the waves, and you know, disappearing when the I think it's called the apex, I think, of the wave going through across the screen. Where can we actually watch this this film, One Shot?
If you just Google Red Bull One Shot, Red Bull has still got it. They purchased the rights outside of Australia, and you can just watch it for free, I'm pretty sure, at Red Bull. But yeah, that's what I did today. I didn't even realise it was still on there. So it's Or if you're in Australia, it's Apple. Apparently someone I think my wife just yelled out it's on Apple. Can you watch movies on Apple?
Apple, no.
Apple
TV?
Something Apple. Hang on, I'll have a quick look.
Yeah. This is something that Michelle's asking, how can you watch the whole thing? I would love to find it, because to be honest, when I was trying to research for it, I couldn't find the link.
Yeah, I think if you go onto Red Bull, I've got the link here.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Can I send that link to you? Or?
Sure, you can send it in a Zoom chat.
Oh yeah, I'm learning as I go here.
Let me just say hi to you here. There we go. So you can see something pop up.
Oh yeah.
Bottom. Yeah. So if
iTunes. I think my wife can hear me. She just yelled out. And iTunes in Australia.
iTunes in Australia. Okay. Let me just put a
link.
link.
Yeah, but that link
didn't copy well. Oh, Zoom doesn't allow me to copy and paste. That's silly. Okay, never mind. Let me just type it manually.
I'll send you another link for Australia, which will be good.
And add it. Sure. Surf film.
And then you can find out more about the producer and the filmer.
Sure.
Darren's like, this started off just like shooting a little thing for YouTube. He's only just started filming and making a little project, and then it sort of grew legs and a few heads and ended up being a doco that ABC picked up, and he's amazing what he does.
oneshot.co.com. Okay.
So that's the actual website, and that can take to your Vimeo and iTunes in Australia.
Oh, brilliant. Let me just copy it down, because apparently Zoom doesn't allow me to copy and paste. How silly. There we go. So the link is up in chat, guys. If you want to, you can check it out as well. I think it contains all the videos that Russell is involved in, including One Shot. It's a brilliant documentary based on the trailer. I myself will definitely watch it later on. So some photographers actually usually, or during seminars and talks like that, they usually tell others that when you start photography, you need to find a niche or find your voice. What would you say are some genres? Because right now I can see that your niche is mostly ocean work, but what other genres would you like to try someday?
I like to do like work on my flash work, which will help my, you know, lifestyle work. So maybe in the studio. I mean, there's so many, mate. I'd love to have a little space and a studio set up so you can do some creative projects in there. I'd definitely like to do that.
If I were given an opportunity to go to Australia right now, I would totally assist you for that. Because I love.
Oh, it'd be so good. I'll come up to Singapore when I can travel. I love Singapore. It's good.
I'll be honored to digitech for you for Capture One and help you with your lighting setup as well.
Oh, it'd be great.
Yeah.
Because I think, you know, everybody, there's different sort of works. You can take parts out of that work and it can help what you're doing, you know, what your main focus is.
Exactly. And I think when it comes to photo shoots, especially studio work, it's really the sum of all parts that make the image work. You know, from the stylist to the makeup artist to the digitech, the lighting, the grip, the gaffer, the photographer, the creative director, the art director, everybody coming together just to create that one shot. You know, it's brilliant. Yeah, I'd
love to spend time on one of your sets for sure.
Oh no, this is just a normal. It's just a small room.
Oh no, I've seen your work online. It's incredible.
Oh, thank you. Perhaps someday, we'll definitely cross paths when it's safer to travel again. But after the show, I'd like to speak to you about some other stuff later on. But yeah, let's just I got a couple more questions to go. For those people at home, if you have any questions for Russell, you can just type it out in the chat, and I'll just transmit the questions for you. Transmit, what a weird word. But okay, so let's say right now, we had this short discussion before the show started with regards to COVID-19. If let's say the pandemic totally stops, you know, they found a cure, the vaccine works, and the whole world rejoice, you know, everybody is completely COVID-19 free, the pandemic is just stopped suddenly overnight, it totally really went away. What's the first thing that you do?
Travel. Yeah, I'll go to New Zealand. I've got a job. I want to spend a few months there next year at the bottom in the cold, and just travel and meet a few characters, catch up on a lot of work with the New Zealand brand, keep them happy, and that's the first thing I'll do. I actually thought there was a chance I was going to do it this year, but then Victoria got a bit of a dose of it, and now New Zealand's in semi-lockdown as well for a few days, so I can't see that happening until next year. I thought because it felt like we'd got rid of it, and then New Zealand had got rid of it, that maybe we could just travel between countries. That would have been amazing. Good for, because you know they really need a lot of tourism over there.
Yeah, they do.
New Zealand. I mean, we've got a lot of resources in, especially here in WA. So it would have been good to go support the Kiwis.
And it's just too bad that, you know, the second wave happened and everything is back to lockdown again. But I guess it's for the greater good, I guess, to ensure that everyone is safe from the pandemic. I really hope that this pandemic disappears soon, because you know, for us photographers, it's really tough. It's getting really tough to continue surviving like this. But like what we said just now, we just have to find ways and keep on trying, right? So do you have any advice to the audience, to those aspiring to become professionals like yourself?
I think just try to master you know, be patient, and really just concentrate on your work and let everything flow after that. Don't try to jump ahead of yourself. I mean, I've done it myself, like in the past, and thinking, you know, why isn't this happening, or why isn't that happening, and then just basically concentrate on my work to get better, and then things just start to fall in place and start to happen.
Yep.
And because, you know, just treat it like an apprenticeship. Learn, ask questions from as many people as you can. And you know, a lot of people won't give you the time of the day, but you'll find someone that does, that can help you out.
Yep.
And yeah, and just go from there. It's and just think outside the square. You know, it's not big profile on Instagram's not going to do it, not cut it.
Brilliant. And if, let's say, anyone out there who's watching right now wants to become an ex-photographer and join the ranks as being a Fujifilm ambassador, what would you say to them?
Well, much the same thing, really, but it's like that's a tough one. I kind of got a little bit lucky with that. Well, firstly, start shooting with Fuji cameras. That could help. Sell all your gear. Sell whatever. If you're not on Fuji, sell all your gear and start shooting with Fuji. But you know, if it doesn't happen, don't get down on it. It's not a. You can imagine how many. Like, I still think, oh, maybe I should have this or should have that. But in the scheme of things, there's 1,000 photographers that are all very skilled, and a lot of it ends up being relationship building.
Yes. Like
the guy that I normally dealt with at Fuji's just left, so I thought, oh, that's me gone. But you know, I'm creating another relationship with the new guy and stuff like that. So it's relationship building with you know, you see when you do see a photographer that, you know, that has got this and that, they've probably worked for that brand, you know, they've been with the art director and stuff like that. You know, think of how many photographers are in the world and that are sponsored by a camera brand. There's not that many. So it's not the end or be all. It is amazing. Just create amazing content.
Yep, that's true.
It's pretty difficult to stand out these days, but like I said, I got pretty lucky with it. I saw the opportunity because I knew no one in the surfing world that I knew of used Fuji like that, and I took that opportunity. When the opportunity comes, grab it.
And speaking of opportunities, because I've never seen anyone using Capture One to capture images like that. So from a Capture One perspective, I would like to work with you on that. So I'll talk to you later after the show. Further. Yeah, so,
for sure.
Yep. And Matt,
you know Dave. You know David from
David
Capture
Grover?
One.
Oh yeah.
So that's who I met in Japan. He's great. He's been good. I like his tutorials as well. He's very easy to follow.
Yep. He and what's her name? T Parrish as well, and I think one more lady. Just can't remember the name right now. Emily Tick, I think. They're really fantastic teachers for Capture One. Really brilliant stuff.
They're amazing.
Yep. And they've been doing a lot of live streams because of COVID-19 as well. And David is such a patient teacher. I myself still watch his streams from time to time. It's just unfortunate that his timing is always at 12 midnight onwards, if I'm not wrong. Brilliant stuff.
I'm starting to watch your ones. I heard you at the start of the show that you're going to start doing live edits on here.
Oh yeah, I'll be doing those as well.
That'll be good. I'll follow along.
Oh, brilliant. Most likely it will be done at 8 p.m. Singapore time. I think it's same as your time as well on weekdays. So I'll definitely let you know when I come online to do this live edits with Capture One. All right, brilliant. Matt Hickey asks, who are some of the photographers that you look up to? And have you ever thought about shooting the big waves at Nazaré, Portugal? Sorry, Nazaré, yeah, Portugal.
Like photographer wise, it's probably like Mickey Smith. It's kind of people I've met and they all bring something to the table. Like I loved how Mickey traveled. Have you heard of Mickey Smith?
Personally, no.
He's a musician as well, and I met him while I was he came over to WA, and he just travelled with, I think he was shooting Canon at the time, one Canon body, this is film days, 150mm and one housing. So I just love that. Like he just like, I'm getting the job done with just this, and I should have learnt more because I have bought a lot of gear and sold a lot of gear over the time, but I'm really impressed with that type of work, and he's a super creative guy. Nice. Ted Grambo, he's an ocean and surf photographer. He's been around for years. I love just how creative he is, his longevity as well. Like he's just amazing, and just a lot of these guys I've met along the way, so I've got a personal connection. I was going to write something down, and because I'm terrible with names.
That makes it two of us.
Jeez, just give me 2 seconds.
Yeah, no worries.
I think I wrote a couple of names. This is a bit embarrassing, isn't it? It's one thing I need to write down is names, because I just go blank.
All good, all good.
Where are we?
Yep. So anyway, Matt, hope you are taking down these names, and then you can follow them up as well and be inspired. So for those of you guys who are watching at home right now, if you have not done so, you can actually hit the follow or subscribe button and show support for the stream, or you can actually donate through RazorTip Stream by just using your camera phone to scan the QR code that's available on your screen right now. That will be much appreciated as well. Okay, back to you, Russell.
Oh, I've gone completely blank on the names. I didn't even write them down.
Okay, it's all right.
But yeah, those two in particular, and then there's guys that are pushing the limits like Brent Billman and Zach Noyle.
Yep.
Just because what they've gone through to get their shots. Yeah, there's so many good people out there. It's incredible.
It's true. And yeah, I think at the end of the day, for Matt especially, because you're the one who asked the question, do check their portfolios out, and maybe you'll be inspired as well. And it's always good to keep on a lookout for fellow photographers, but do remember one thing: it's nice to be inspired and all that, but just like what we said just now earlier between Russell and myself, try not to fall into the pit where we end up being too heavily influenced by the shots and wanting to make something that's similar. We always have to come up with something of our own, and that's what makes our shots more signature like, so to speak. Right, so
here's another John Frank.
John Frank.
That's
a familiar name.
He's I remember seeing one of his images he took from the water, and I met him very briefly as well, and he's incredible. He's really good in the water. And Scott Aikner, he's not shooting anymore. I think he'd left at the start of he was only really a film guy, but his positioning in the ocean as well is pretty inspiring.
Nice. So Matt, hopefully those you've been taking down notes with all the names.
Yeah, sorry Matt, that was a long-winded answer, that one.
But it's good. Okay, Russell, I think that's pretty much all we have for today. I really want to thank you so much for joining us this evening. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put you on mute for a while and put you on the other screen. Once the show ends, I will just do a wrap up here. Once the show ends, I'll just have a little chat with you on Zoom, if you don't mind.
No drama. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. Stand by muting in 3, 2, 1. Right. Brilliant. Okay, guys, that's all for today's episode of the Amazing Life Show. And I just realized my screen is kind of, for some reason, frozen. So I'm just gonna reactivate my camera. It does that from time to time. I think I need to take a look at my cam link connection. There we go. All good. Everything's all right now. So again, I'm gonna put Russell's website on the chat, so you guys can check out his works as well. It's really brilliant, and do give him a follow. His Instagram is over here. This is the chat. Check the chat again, it's there as well. I just copy and pasted it over. Do check it out as well. For those of you guys who stayed all the way until the end, thank you so much for joining us this evening. And as always, I just want to give a shout out to the PPAS, or the Professional Photographers Association of Singapore. If you're a Singaporean photographer, you need to follow the PPAS website, and or even better yet, join the association, because right now our association is growing bigger and bigger. You can see that's a lot of things that are happening because of COVID-19, and we do have a resource page that's very, very useful and beneficial for commercial photographers in Singapore who need to have an idea of what kind of steps are necessary to adhere to safety protocols to ensure that your shoots all can go on safely. And I think it's very important because there are some guidelines that you need to follow so that basically don't get fined. Alright, and I think it's more important that we actually keep one another safe, especially all the stakeholders for the shoots, like for example your models, your stylists, your makeup artists, your assistants, your crew, and yourself, because at the end of the day, it is our responsibility to make sure that the virus does not come to pass. All right, so do check out the PPS website. I'm just gonna put a link for the COVID-19 resource page here as well, so you can check it out on your own. And that's pretty much it for today's episode. So like just now during the show, I did mention that I'll be doing more live streams in between episodes of the Amazing Live show, where I actually do live editing. I'm also gonna start doing things like live photo critique. So if you guys want to, you can participate in those as well. And I'm planning some multi-tiered subscribe reward system. So you know, at the end of the day, if you subscribe to the channel, you will actually be rewarded with something like maybe one of my prints when I print with my printer once I get it up and running again, and I will deliver it to you by mail. Okay, so this is something that I really hope that is gonna be beneficial for you guys. You know, we can learn from one another better, and of course explore avenues for creating a community that just has a more fun and still safe environment to learn in. Okay, so and with that, thank you so much for joining me this evening, and thank you so much to Russell, of course, for joining us this evening as well. Nothing much to say this time except for stay safe, take care. I'll see you guys when I see you. Bye bye.
Come with me, and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. Take a look, and you'll see into your imagination. We'll begin with a spin, traveling in the world of my creation. What we'll see will defy explanation.
On 3, 1, 2.